Do you know how many everyday things can hurt your dog? You probably do everything right. The good food, the vet visits, the belly rubs before bed. And yet, right now, buried inside your daily routine, there are things you're doing to your dog that are quietly chipping away at the bond between you. Not big things, not obvious things, small, invisible habits that most owners would never even question. But behavioural science has been studying these exact moments for decades. And what the research shows is that some of the most common ways we interact with our dogs, things we've done 1,000 times without thinking, are triggering stress responses we never see. Let's start with something you probably did today without a second thought. 1. Petting them on top of the head. Your dog walks up to you. You reach down and pat them right on top of the skull. It's automatic. It's what everyone does. It's the universal sign for good dog. But watch what happens next. Most dogs duck, just slightly. A small flinch, almost imperceptible, before they lean into your hand or redirect it somewhere else. In canine body language, a hand coming down over the head is a dominant signal. Researchers at the University of Lincoln found that dogs showed significantly more stress indicators, lip licking, gaze aversion, ear pinning, when approached with overhead petting compared to chest contact. A 2012 study in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that dogs petted on the head showed no measurable decrease in cortisol. Dogs stroked on the chest did. Your dog isn't enjoying that head pat, they're tolerating it, because they trust you enough to accept something that makes them uncomfortable. Every time you reach over the top of their skull, you're spending a tiny piece of trust they gave you for free. Try the chest, try the side of their neck. Watch how different the response is. That's what comfort actually looks like. 2. Using their name when you're angry. The trash is all over the kitchen again. You storm in and say their name in that tone. Sharp, loaded, unmistakable. They freeze. They know something's wrong. But here's what just broke. To your dog, their name is supposed to mean one thing. Look at me. Something good is about to happen. Every trainer on the planet will tell you this. The name is a recall cue, a bridge to connection, the single most important word in your dog's entire vocabulary. Researchers at the University of Bristol's Anthrozoology Institute found that dogs whose names were frequently paired with negative experiences developed significantly slower recall responses over time. The name itself became poisoned, not a call to connection. A warning. Your dog isn't ignoring you when they stop coming. They're protecting themselves. Because you turned the one word that meant safety into a word that means danger. If you're the kind of person who actually wants to understand what your dog is telling you, hit like and subscribe right now. These signals matter, and most people miss every single one. 3. Rushing them past every smell on walks. You've got 20 minutes. Your dog stops at the third mailbox in a row, nose buried in the grass, and you tug the leash. Come on, let's go. Most owners see sniffing as a delay, a distraction, something to manage so you can get the walk done. But here's what the science says. A 2019 study from the University of Porto found that dogs allowed to sniff freely on walks showed significantly lower stress indicators than dogs walked on a tight directed route for the same duration. Heart rates dropped. Displacement behaviours like excessive panting decreased. The researchers described it as the difference between reading a book and being locked in a blank room. Your dog's nose processes the world the way your eyes do. Every patch of ground holds layered chemical information. Who passed by, how long ago, what they ate, whether they were stressed. When you yank them past a smell, you're not saving time. You're slamming a book shut mid-sentence. That's not a walk, that's a march. And your dog knows the difference. And here's where it gets really interesting, because the next one on this list is something you can't even control, and it might be doing more damage than anything else. 4. Carrying your stress into the room. You've had a terrible day. You come home, sit on the couch, and your dog comes over and rests their head on your knee. Sweet, right? Comforting. But your dog didn't come over to comfort you. They came over because your cortisol just walked through the door, and their nervous system felt it immediately. In 2019, researchers at Linköping University in Sweden measured long-term cortisol in 58 dog owner pairs using hair samples. Not the spike of a bad moment, but the slow hormonal accumulation over months. The levels were synchronized. Stressed owner, stressed dog, calm owner, calm dog, and the direction was clear. The owner's cortisol predicted the dog's, not the reverse. Your dog isn't just reading your mood, they're absorbing it. Their nervous system is literally calibrated against yours, tuned over months of proximity until your stress becomes their baseline. That's not empathy in the way we romanticize it. That's a biological mirror. And when you carry chronic tension through the front door night after night, your dog's body pays the tax. Let that sink in for a second. 5. Picking them up without warning. Your small dog is lying on the floor half asleep. You scoop them up because you need to move them, or you want to cuddle, or guests are arriving. From your perspective, nothing happened. From theirs, the ground just disappeared. Veterinary behaviorists have documented that sudden lifting triggers the same acute stress response as a predator strike, a rapid adrenaline spike, momentary disorientation, total loss of spatial control. A 2017 study in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior found that small dogs frequently picked up without a preceding cue were significantly more likely to develop handling sensitivity or defensive snapping over time. Your dog isn't being dramatic when they tense up. Their entire evolutionary wiring interprets a sudden loss of ground contact as a life-threatening event. They're not being difficult. They're being an animal whose survival depended on knowing where the ground was at all times. Say their name first. Touch their side. Give them 1 second to understand what's about to happen. That 1 second is the difference between trust and terror. 6. Comforting them with the wrong energy during fear. Thunder rolls. Fireworks start. Your dog is trembling behind the couch, and every instinct in your body says hold them, soothe them, tell them it's okay. But the way you do it matters more than the fact that you do it. Researchers at the Royal Veterinary College found that owners who responded to their dog's fear with high-pitched, rapid, anxious reassurance, the kind that sounds comforting but actually mirrors panic, saw no reduction in fearful behavior. In some cases, it escalated, not because comforting is wrong, but because your dog doesn't process words. They process energy. If your voice is tight and your body is tense while you say, "It's okay," what your dog receives is confirmation that something is very wrong. The owners whose dogs recovered fastest were the ones who stayed physically calm, spoke in slow, low tones, and didn't change their own behavior. They didn't ignore the dog. They modeled safety. You're not comforting them with your words, you're comforting them with your heartbeat. 7. Never letting them choose. Remember at the beginning when I said there was one mistake most owners have never even considered? This is it. Think about your dog's day. You decide when they eat, when they walk, where they walk, when they play, when they stop, when they sleep, when they get up. You choose the route, the pace, the toy, the treat. Every single variable in their life runs through you. Most owners see this as responsible ownership, structure, routine. But a groundbreaking 2014 study from the University of Melbourne found something that stunned the canine behavior community. Dogs given regular opportunities to make choices, which direction to walk, which toy to engage with, whether to approach a stranger or hang back, showed measurably higher optimism in cognitive bias testing. They approached ambiguous situations with curiosity instead of fear. The researchers called it a sense of agency, and dogs without it showed patterns remarkably similar to learned helplessness. The state where an animal stops trying because experience has taught them nothing they do changes the outcome. Your dog isn't being stubborn when they pull toward the left path instead of the right. They're exercising the one tiny sliver of control they have in a life that is almost entirely dictated by someone else. That's not disobedience. That's a request to matter. Think about that from their perspective. A creature who loves you more than anything in this world, who would follow you anywhere, asking for one small moment where their choice counts. Let them sniff the longer route. Let them pick the toy. Let them decide whether to greet the stranger or hang back. Those micro moments of autonomy don't make your dog harder to manage. They make your dog whole.